So it's my last interview. I know you guys hate it. So good to have you here. You have to hold a mic, otherwise you can't talk. So can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Ganesh. I'm the founder and group CEO of MOL, and in that position I run the MOL group of companies and also Friendster, the social network.
Okay. So running out of time, so I'm going to go straight to the point. How much money are you making?
We are a private company, so we don't really disclose.
Well, you are the founder. And you're a nice and public speaking friendly founder.
We disclose our annual revenues.
Okay, annual revenue.
Annual revenues last year was about 300 million US. Yeah.
Profit?
Oh, we don't disclose profit numbers.
Okay. How about annual transaction? Because since you're a payment company.
Sure. Annual transactions are over 500 million US a year now.
Okay. So let's track back. You started in 2000 and sorry, when did you started?
Yeah, I started in 2000.
2000. So why MOL?
So the story goes back actually to much earlier than that. So in the year 1995, I was just out of college, and at that time, most people were still new to the internet, at least in Malaysia. My hometown was actually in Johor, and so just not even after college, it was after secondary school actually. What happened was I was working part-time while waiting for my examination results in a cyber cafe. And at that time, I realized that cyber cafes didn't have cyber cafe software. So I came up with an idea to actually develop a cyber cafe management software. And that was before I went back to uni. And I actually was studying in Johor, or I was born in Johor, studied in Johor. And while in uni, I actually continued developing this software and started selling that software to over hundreds of cyber cafes in Malaysia. And during the year 2000, when the dot-com bubble came about, what I did was came up with a model to actually give that software for free. And so went around looking for funding. Of course, you know, when you're selling the software, now you give the software for free, you need funding. So went around looking for funding and finally managed to raise funding from Tan Sri Vincent Tan of the Berjaya Group in Malaysia, who at that time invested, 60, 70 million US in about, 30 internet companies. And so he invested a bit of money in me.
How much did he invest?
Oh, it's about 600,000-700,000 US. It was actually 2 million ringgit. And I was, out of his 30 investments, I was the only one of two that survived. But I think from our investment, he managed to recover back all the rest. So
it always works this way, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Of course, we always like the ratios to be better. In MOL's own investments, actually, our ratios are much better, I would say. So,
what is the ratio between you and Vincent Tan?
In terms of in the company?
Yeah.
Yeah, he owns a majority of the company, so he owns over 80%, and I own slightly under.
No wonder he recovered, yeah. So, you were saying, the last interview that we had, you were saying that you were very lucky that you didn't raise so much money.
Sure.
Why?
Sure, I guess when you raise a lot of money at the beginning, what happens is you tend to increase your overhead and spend a lot of money. And once you increase your overhead, it's very difficult to bring it down again, right? So it's always good when you raise money is to raise a conservative amount of money so you don't overly spend and you can last it out.
So 300 million in revenue, wow. Like, so in the last 13 years, like, what did you do right? You know, to really grow the company from 0 all the way to 300 million?
Persevere.
That's it?
I guess don't lose focus. A lot of people give up very early on. When I first started my internet business, there was practically no internet, right? So if I didn't persevere and didn't focus, if I gave up in my first 18 months, 24 months, 36 months, which is when most people do, I wouldn't be around today. So really the first 36 months, first 3 to 5 years was really suffering, getting through. And then after that, once you get traction, then you can start seeing traction. So I say never give up and never lose focus.
So what did you do right? I'm sure that throughout these 13 years, there are several turning points where it's like a key moment for the company, to experience like spikes of growth, all the way up to like 300 million in revenue. So I'm just trying to like really pinpoint what are the few things that you did right.
I guess in the first aspect was to focus on games. In the second aspect is because games was the first sector, I would say, on the internet that started making money. If you look at some of the biggest internet companies across Southeast Asia, they're all online gaming companies, right? So almost all are online gaming companies if you look in terms of revenue. So focus on games was important. I guess recognizing the social aspect into games. Like when I first started contacting Friendster, it was almost 6-7 years ago, there was no Zynga. And we realized that a lot of web-based games were coming from China. And we said, hey, social's going to make gaming grow. So that's when I contacted Friendster. Unfortunately, 6 years ago when I emailed them, they thought, who's this crazy guy from Malaysia? So they never responded to me.
So talking about Friendster, like how many of you guys have used Friendster or at least heard of Friendster? Raise out your hand. I mean, almost everyone, right? That's where we all started to cyberstalk girls and guys. So I got a couple of questions like emailed to me. They want to ask like why did you buy Friendster? Is it because maybe I should just chop it into two. So why did you buy Friendster?
So we bought Friendster not to compete with Facebook, as what was rumored at that time. We bought Friendster because of its assets and because we felt that its assets could help MOL. Those assets were its brand. In those days when I talked to the big US companies, whether I try to talk to Facebook, whether I talk to Zynga, whether I even try to talk to Friendster, they don't know who I am, right? So it really was difficult trying to talk to them. But the moment I bought Friendster, everybody opens the doors, right? Because, this is the company that owns Friendster, right? Ironically, they actually want to use us for payments. Right? For example, Facebook uses for payments, right? The second was its community. So from there, we actually got, of course, Friendster had 100 million registered members. I know all of you have used Friendster. I'm sure all of you are not using Friendster anymore. But you know what we have done in that is we actually managed to get a lot of Friendster members to actually become MOL members. So when we actually, before we bought Friendster, it took us 10 years to get to 200 million registered members. Sorry, to go to 200,000 registered members. 6% of them spend $60 a month. Right? After buying Friendster, we managed to grow in 3 years. We managed to grow that 200,000 number to 2.7 million registered members in 3 years. Right? So it really basically grew our community members. And guess what? 6% of them still spend $60 a month. So that 10 times growth of MOL as a payment company was because we bought Friendster. Right? And so it actually helped build MOL to where it is today. And the third were the patents. We recognized that the patents had some value. We didn't know how much their value was, but we knew we could recover at least some part of our acquisition through it. Of course, we managed to do slightly better than that.
The patents are sold to?
Big social network.
Oh, who? And how much?
The one that all of you are using.
Okay, so you sell the patent to Facebook, and is that part of the plan?
I didn't say I sold the patents to Facebook.
No?
I didn't say that.
Okay, but who?
You said that.
I'm asking you who.
A big social network.
Okay, how much?
Go and read TechCrunch lah, don't ask me.
Okay, so what is Friendster today?
Friendster is a social gaming portal, so we use Friendster today to market all our games. And so it's become a channeling portal. Channeling is a trend that's becoming more popular in games because there are tons of developers out there, and those developers need marketing. They may not be able to market themselves. So Friendster is now a channeling arena, I would say, for new and established web-based games. So
last month you acquired IOPay.
Yeah.
Right, and IOPay is basically, maybe I will let you introduce what is IOPay,
so IOPay,
and why did you acquire the company?
So IOPay is a somewhat similar company to MOL in Indonesia, and basically what it is it's a payment gateway for online gamers, and so we bought the company to really, we had a presence in Indonesia for over, I would say 1 year now, 1.5 years now. And we were working with IOPay in a commercial relationship. They were distributing MOL points. We recognized that, they could be a further broader relationship, and so we looked at them and say, hey, it'll be a good acquisition for us to further strengthen our Indonesian market.
So you said that Indonesia will be the focus for this year.
Yep.
Why Indonesia, and what do you see in Indonesia?
Of course, the population. It's 200 million population, which is a big size, but I'm sure all of you know that. But in my industry, for example, in Malaysia, 10 years ago, most of the online game payments were done through physical cards, right? And if I look 10 years ago when I started, 20% was done through electronic payment gateways like us, and 80% was through physical cards. We in Malaysia turned that to 80-20 today. We have a 80% market share, physical cards have a 20% market share. And Indonesia right now, it's again 80% physical, 20% electronic. So we see that over the next, 5 to 8 years, we can change that based on our experience, expertise, track record that we have done in Malaysia.
Okay, so as a Malaysia-based technology company, not a lot of technology companies in Malaysia have international presence. So MOL is definitely one of the largest, if not the largest. So what would you advise, other fellow Malaysian startup or any Southeast Asian startups, to really think big and expand?
Go and buy a big social network.
Not many around, to be honest. I could buy Facebook.
Just joking. No, I think you always have to think about being global from day one. You can't think about being a Malaysian company. You can't think of being the Malaysian Facebook. You can't think of being the Malaysian Alibaba, because then you're always going to be a Malaysian company. And to be honest, Malaysia is too small a country, right?
Singapore is smaller.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say that, but thanks for saying. Right? So at least I think if you're starting in anywhere in this region, you at least need to think Southeast Asian focus. Right? Because if you look at Malaysia is 20 million, Indonesia is 200 million, but still there's a long headway there. But if you look at Southeast Asia, there's 600 million, right? And then you look at the demographics, those demographics are very similar to China, Europe, for example, the US, So actually, you have to look at it, if not global, at least a Southeast Asian player.
Okay. So MOL was listed, publicly listed,
sure,
right? And then you delisted it.
Yep.
Why?
So at that time, we were a relatively small Malaysian listed company, and we wanted to go regional. We expected that to go regional, we would make some losses in the interim. And as a listed company, then you're under a lot of pressure when you make losses. Right, shareholders question you, etc. So we decided it's better to privatize the company. We gave back our shareholders, I would say, a good enough return, and of course we incurred losses in the interim, and grew the company to become a regional player.
So when will you go public again?
Oh, to be honest, we may intend to go public next year. There have been several public disclosures on it, but I'm not in a hurry. I've been a listed company before, so I'm not really in a hurry. We don't need the money, right? So I'm not in a hurry. I'm focused on growing the company more, making it into a real global payments player, and then we'll list when the time comes, right?
So it seems like you have acquired a couple of companies already in 2013. Some in Turkey. And then last month in Indonesia. So I'm sure you have more in the pipeline since you're thinking global. So who are these companies?
Oh, yeah. Some people tell me I shop like ladies shop for handbags or shoes.
Who are you shopping with? Which company are you looking at?
We look at payment companies which are similar to MOL in the game payment space, and today we look at e-commerce space as well. So I guess there are two types of companies: those that can make us more regional, bring us into new markets, and those that can expand us into new product scopes. Maybe one other country we haven't covered in Southeast Asia is Vietnam, so there may be something coming out of that market.
Who in Vietnam?
Wait for the press release.
So there's something in about Vietnam.
Yeah, there's something about Vietnam.
What about?
Payments.
Which company?
Something in Vietnam.
When is the press release sent?
Soon.
Tough nut to crack, this guy. Okay, so just to wrap it up, just really wanted to really talk about your experience as an entrepreneur.
Sure.
So what are the if you were to go back in time, okay, so what are the few things that you will do it better? And in turn, you actually learn a lesson, and what are these lessons you can actually share with the entrepreneurs who are sitting here today?
Sure. I think one of the mistakes I made earlier on is looking at the short-term money too fast. So when I went earlier on, for example, one of the strategies we had was licensing more points to operators in different countries and collecting upfront money. This can be in terms of going to new regions. This can be in terms of selling off parts of your business to fund your business. So sometimes it includes listing too early as well. Some people list so that they can raise money to run their business. So when you do those things, it actually decreases the future value of your business, and it could affect you moving forward and make you lose a lot of time. So I think you got to think more medium term, long term, stay on the ball, stay focused, don't give up, don't sell short.
Okay. I recalled I have actually one more question from a reader named Ryan. He asked do you angel invest?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do some angel investments, but I tend to want to invest in things that are around the ecosystem that I'm good at. I don't just invest in things where I may not know enough of. So, like for example, if areas around gaming, areas around payment, areas around e-commerce, areas about transaction advertising are areas that I look at. Right, and sometimes also I do it through MOL simply because then I can leverage on a lot of the expertise within the MOL space. So I invest, but when I invest is things that I'm good at, things that MOL is good at. Most of the time it's done through MOL as well. I don't invest, for example, in advertising startups because I'm not good at advertising, right? Yeah, so I do invest. I'm interested to look at things, and especially around areas where I can help.
Okay. Is it okay if I ask some questions on your personal life?
Sure.
Okay. So, are you married?
No.
Okay. Are you looking for someone?
I can't comment.
Are you seeing someone?
No.
Okay. Ladies, take note. Thank you very much.